I know for a fact when I was single, ain't nobody was sliding in my DMs. I know that for a fact.
Oh yeah,
man, I was out here like,
occupied
yo,
men.
I was out here like, yo, where the shorties at? I'm hitting up on my homegirls like, yo, where your friends at? Right? You know what I'm saying? I'm looking low-key thirsty, right?
Yeah, it was giving thirst.
And then
Parched.
all of a sudden, I'm in a new relationship. My DMs are flooded. Gracie, flooded.
Babes love occupied men.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, now I know y'all toxic. I know y'all see me in a new relationship. I know y'all see me posted up with shorty, right? So now all of a sudden you slide in my
now
DM.
You interested?
I promise y'all, yo, there's this one
liking
girl.
up your posts.
Yeah,
there's
this one girl. I'm like,
sending, subliminal messages.
There's this one girl, low key though. I obviously ain't gonna name her. Look, listen, the whole time I was single.
Yeah.
Chasing.
Her, you were chasing her.
Okay, chasing is not the word, but I was macking.
Don't
I was macking, you know?
Don't downplay.
No. Chasing ain't the word. Listen, because we don't chase around here. Listen, chasing ain't the word. What I'm gonna say is I was macking on her, right? I'm in the listen. I'm dropping bars. You know, even I'm impressed with myself. Nothing was sticking though. Nothing was sticking. I'm like, oh god damn. It's like, you know what I mean? Nothing was sticking.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm like. What's going on? What's going on, family? Welcome to the Words Out Podcast, episode 2. This is where we have a conversation about honesty, right? This is where we have true, real, honest conversations about building and maintaining relationship. I am your host, DJ Keys.
And I'm your host, Gracie Stacks.
And I'm your host, Elton.
And the whole gang is in the building.
Let's go.
Let's go, y'all. The whole gang is in the building again. Episode 2. How y'all feeling about this?
Damn.
Man, I'm glad we're sticking to it.
Yeah.
Episode 2, yo. I'm excited. Listen, I've had such a great week, and we'll talk about that next year when we talk about the vibe check. But episode 2, y'all, we appreciate every one of y'all that's tuning in. Listen, make sure y'all go to YouTube, subscribe. Make sure y'all go to Instagram. Make sure y'all go on TikTok and follow us. And we are also available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. So please make sure y'all tune in. Listen, we are coming in hot. So, vibe check. I'm gonna start with Gracie Stacks. Gracie, what's good, man? How's your week? How's your week?
Man, my week has been great. Working, just vibing through. I recently, let me give you a little story. I recently went to the beach with one of my friends. I'm sorry if you see this. I gotta tell because I don't understand. But yeah, we go to the beach and the cops were walking around. We didn't have our seatbelts on, so we get pulled over. And the cops run the girl's license and her registration. Nothing was connected.
Nothing was connected. That's crazy. What kind of friends you keeping?
Nothing was connected, and her license was suspended. The girl get arrested. I end up just at the beach stranded. Because they towed the car too.
Absolutely, yeah.
They didn't care. They didn't care about me. They were just like, "What can we do for you?" They was like, the lady cop gave me a charger and was just like, "Good luck."
They didn't give you an option to take the car?
No.
Oh, because they had registration.
Yes.
Right. Yeah,
nothing was matching. That's what I'm saying. Nothing was matching. So they took the car and I was stranded. So yeah.
Is your friend okay? Do they need bail money? They good?
No, she was fine. But it was just a long day.
Damn, what did you end up doing?
What did I end up doing? Did a little tree at the beach, sat there, and then I got a hotel because I was like, I can't be homeless.
Damn.
But what made me mad about that is like the hotels were so expensive. But anyways, yeah, that was my weekend.
That's crazy. Anything else happen? Like I know we got some stuff going on.
Oh, my man is on tour.
Your man's on tour. Who
who that
James?
Be?
Who's James?
Yeah, I don't know. James.
Christopher Maurice Brown. He's on tour right now. Buy your ticket. The meet and greets are sold out. So
listen, I swear to you, the relationship that Grace has with Chris Brown is toxic.
Relationship. Toxic. You heard the word relationship
toxic.
because
listen, since I knew you were little, And all you saying, listen, you haven't grown out of Chris Brown.
That's crazy because what am I growing out of? That's my friend.
My brother is crazy.
Yo, my
bro.
friend is wild.
That's
No,
crazy.
that's so
Yeah.
funny that you asked that because my mom every year she'll check in and be like, "Are you still obsessed with
You
that
still-
man?"
yeah.
I'm like, mm-hmm.
Is Chris Brown still your? I mean, but like, okay, I guess that because some people do change like the artist. Like,
I've been
who's your
obsessed with
favorite?
into,
like
yeah.
that's the one because it's a consistent thing in my life is Christopher.
Brown.
I love
Hey,
him
shout out to
death.
you, Chris Brown.
Shout
out to
out-
you.
shout out to Breezy.
Shout out to you, Breezy.
Yo, she do the whole government out there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Christopher Maurice Brown.
Listen, shout out to you,
Damn.
Chris Brown. All right, Elton, what's good with you, man? How's your week?
Man, what's going on, man? It's been great. Traveling a lot for work. So actually came back to Delaware, and into the Philadelphia area. So super excited seeing my old folks. I got to taste what was it? It was there's this lobster truck that's been coming out from New England. So I got to do a lobster roll. Haven't had that in like forever. So it's been really good. That was like one meal that I haven't had in like a while that I got to try. But outside of that, just doing good, man. Hanging. Excited. Episode 2. Like I can't believe it. So super excited to see what we about to get into today.
No, that's great. That's great. When you say a lobster roll, what is that? Is that like a sandwich roll thingy?
Yeah, so they do it. You got the whole sandwich, and then they put the lobster on there.
Like
Dude,
the whole lobster?
no, they got it chopped up and stuff, and it's like a sub type of situation. Well, y'all don't like
No,
lobster?
I'm just laughing because what he said the full lobster. Why would they give us the shell and all?
Listen, I know.
Well,
y'all
you're not into seafood, or what's up?
I'm not into seafood at all.
I like lobster.
I'm
Yeah,
not
lobster's
into
good.
seafood.
Like
I'm not into.
crab.
You gotta get like the real. I mean, you can't get the bad stuff, so.
I'm not into seafood at all. I couldn't do no seafood.
You don't do
like
no
shrimp.
shrimps?
That's funny. We have to say it was
Yeah.
shrimp.
No, I'm not doing. I can't do no seafood at all.
Are you allergic?
Nah, I feel like fish is nasty.
Keys, live a little, man. Come
I feel
on.
like fish is nasty. Like fish is disgusting, y'all.
How?
Yo, we about to walk out.
The smell, the taste. What?
I mean, the taste is good, but the smell, it's the smell that gets me. You
So
gotta
like, if you don't make it, then have it like made, then it won't be as potent.
listen. I go around the fish marketplace in New York.
Yeah, of course. That's not a good example.
Yeah, come on, man.
Nah, we ain't
There's
doing
all
that.
kinds of things
We are
there.
not doing that.
But if you, the only fish I can agree with is omena. If you eat omena,
Actually,
side-eye.
I need to try that. I've never
Omena-
Nah,
had
I've
that.
tried it. It's bitter. I don't like it.
omena
it?
is the little fish.
Oh, with the
sperm
eyes,
fish,
right?
The sperm fish. They look like
Yeah,
this.
They got the eyes,
They're
yeah.
like,
I've never eaten that. I
Yeah.
don't think I would eat that. I don't eat fish anyway, so I mean, I
but
eat
that's
like,
the one I can agree with. Is
I
disgusting.
eat like regular fish. Like I'll, you know what I'm saying. I'll do
Oh, you
What's
do
regular?
salmon, tilapia.
I'll do salmon. I do a
Oh.
little salmon. Salmon is expensive though, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all went to the fish
Everything
market
is
the other day.
expensive.
Salmon. I'm like, yo, I need that, right? Like it's a whole salmon. They talking about it's gonna be like $80. I say, $80? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Best you
Depending on
go
where you
catch
get it.
one.
salmon is expensive, but yeah, I eat me some salmon. But that's good, man. I appreciate you, man.
No doubt.
For me, my week, man, it's been great. Again, beautiful weather. Summer just started, so we having a good time.
Mhm.
So I just bought a mini bike. And I have been having the time of my life, right? Like
Like
most-
a dirt bike, or what do you mean?
and so I have a dirt bike, but a mini bike it's essentially a motorcycle, but just mini. You can't take it's not you can't take it on the
It's not
road.
street
Like the
legal.
ones they be
It's not
having in
street-
Europe.
Yeah, it's not street legal.
n-
No, well that's
No,
like
those
a
are street
scooter.
legal,
It's
Oh,
like
that's
a
not
scoo-
scooter.
and that's a street legal too. The one I have is just like I'll show you, it's just a little mini bike.
Mhm.
So I just got one of those. Don't know for what reason.
Just because.
Just
Oh,
because.
so now you think you can ride a motorcycle now, huh?
Actually, I'm not really a motorcycle rider. I don't really ride a motorcycle. I don't want to ride a motorcycle, but like the mini bike, listen, it can go up to like 45, 50 miles an hour in the neighborhood. I'm in that joint like, woo, I'm going crazy. I will tell a story the other day though. I almost busted it though. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, Elton, you ride a bike, right? Why is it when you're going to fall every time, instead of hitting the brake, you hit the listen, I almost went to somebody's house. I
Not
said, oh my God. Yeah, it was crazy. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the summer though. It's been a
Yeah.
really nice couple of days. So I'm enjoying myself. And then the other thing, man, for me, I would say that when you were talking about the hotel thing, right? So quick story for me. We were going on vacation another time, and I had a couple friends take over the accommodations. So essentially what that means is that it was their responsibility to look at the hotel and book the hotel. So they sent this hotel, they booked it, right? We got to the hotel. First of all, it's one of those joints where you get into the room from the outside.
Oh God.
No, you know what I mean? It's like a motel.
Not-
thing,
Give
right?
him motel.
Yeah, like
Nothing
Red
wrong with
roof?
it, but
nothing wrong with it.
Not-
But like,
not my
listen,
first choice.
When I pulled up, I'm
Let's
like,
give him prostitution.
I pulled up, I'm like, this a joint, like,
got your own key.
yeah, I got your own key, like the old school. I don't even use this for my house anymore, right?
Yeah, trust
and then
will really teach
listen,
you
I
who
got
not
into
to
the
trust.
room, and it was dirty.
Yeah.
I walk right to the reception. I say, I'm gonna need my money back because I ain't sleeping here today, right? My friends already knew, like, I'm that friend that I like, yeah.
But it's like, why would you want to sleep there?
But that's the thing, though.
you
They're like,
know?
okay, you know, we're sorry for the inconvenience. Your money will be back in your account 14 days from now. I said 14
Yeah,
days.
They be playing, but you took it in 3 seconds.
Yeah, I say, hold on. Now listen, I say, listen, 14 days is going to be a no-no. I said, y'all didn't take it in 14 days. Y'all took it immediately.
Like,
So I'm gonna need my money right back. So
not even on the pending list in your
And
account. It's gone through.
right. I
Hey,
hate to be
hey.
the one.
Rule of thumb: always use your credit card, because you use your debit card, they gonna snatch
Oh
it
yeah,
right
no,
out.
no, I don't.
They're gonna
I'm not
snatch it
using
right
debit
out.
card, but I'm
Yeah.
saying though, at the end of
Points,
the day, they
points,
still
points.
took my money. I'm like, listen.
Yeah.
So they ended up, you know, we ended up getting some credit and got to, you know, go to a different hotel. But the pictures on the website, promise you, they got those from like somewhere from the Caribbean somewhere. That was not the same hotel.
And your friend fell for that?
I'm like, bro, what is you doing? Like, first of all,
Wow.
you go into a hotel that's like, it had a weird name too. And that's, I was always questioning. I'm like, that had a weird name, but
You didn't Google it before?
I know I googled it though. I see the pictures too.
Oh,
I'm looking. I'm like,
false
well, this is
advertisement.
not. And I'm like, it's a bitch front too. Like, this is not. We get there. I'm like, hold on. This is why the prices was cheap. And I'm like, so with that being said, man, listen, that was a crazy just thought that I remember when you
Experience.
talked about the beach. But
Yeah.
obviously, like, my week has been great. Like, episode 2, I'm super stoked, right? Like, we had a great
Absolutely.
first episode. Now we got a second episode, right? And we touched on this a little bit last time, so I want to bring it back and really have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Toxic relationships. So toxic relationships, and when we talk about toxic relationship, I'm not only referencing boyfriend, girlfriend,
Yeah.
husband, wife, right? Toxic relationship can be friendship as well. It can be work relationships as well, right? It can be like real regular friends. So when we talk about toxic relationships, question on the table is, and we can go to you, Elton, first. What is a toxic relationship? Let's start there. What's a toxic relationship to you? What is a toxic relationship?
I believe a toxic relationship, in my opinion, will be any relationship that's not bringing value to you, or that is like its main goal is just to like belittle you, essentially. So that's kind of what I think as far as like what a toxic relationship will be. You know, someone that doesn't want to you know, uplift you, you know, someone that is looking to upper hand you, you know, so just things that are looking to put you down versus bring you up. That would be my own or personal definition of that.
Mm.
Huh. Okay.
Mhm.
Gracious Stacks.
And I
What
agree.
is toxic relationship?
I agree with Elton. And just to bounce off of it, I would say just to any group of two people that are just not equally yoked, you know, like it's not, you're not providing anything for each other. Like you said, no elevation. It's just stagnantness and you're just around each other. That's toxic. Anything that any relationship that makes you question yourself, you know, and not be firm in yourself, that's toxic. So yeah, just when two people are not equally yoked to be together, to just simplify it.
Two people that are not equally yoked. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
That makes sense, and I agree with both of y'all. And for me also, I feel like, in terms of when you talk about toxic relationship, right? Like for me, like not to oversimplify, right? But also for me, I feel like anybody not in a healthy relationship, for me, I feel like that's toxic. If you're not in a healthy relationship, that's toxic.
Mm.
Now, this is the kicker here. I feel like you can be in a good place and in a toxic relationship. And I also feel like you can be in a bad place as a relation, like as a couple. We can be in a bad place, but not have but have a non-toxic relationship, right? So in that
Okay.
sense, when I talk about like not being healthy, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to be necessarily in a good place. Because again, you can be in a good place and be in a toxic relationship, right?
Yep.
Y'all just
Had a good
thriving
day.
over toxicity. So yeah, toxic relationship again. I feel like y'all kind of summed it up pretty well. But I also feel like again, if you're not in a healthy relationship, that's not conducive to anything. It's not conducive to growth. It's not conducive to anything at all. I feel like that's a toxic relationship. So that's what
Okay.
I would say. And so the next question, I'm gonna spin it a little bit for y'all. So I need y'all to finish this sentence for me. All right. I'm gonna start with Gracie Stacks. You know you are in a toxic relationship. Okay.
Mhm.
If ... or when ...
You know you're in a toxic relationship if you have to be like, oh, we've had a good day out of the many of the bad. You know you're in a toxic relationship when you become isolated from
Ooh.
everything you like, love, your family, your wants. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now you touched on a couple points that I do want to come back to that.
Mhm.
Elton, you know you are in a relation. You know you are in a toxic relationship if ... or when ... What would you say?
When you have to seek validation
Mm-hmm.
with everything you do, like you
Mhm.
cannot make any decision for yourself.
Mhm.
If you have to, and this doesn't mean about like consultation, but like that your partner doesn't let you make any decisions. Like they have to come from them. If it's not from them, it's not a decision.
Yeah.
And so you definitely know you're in a toxic relationship when it's that. You're also in a toxic relationship when you absolutely can't have any friends, or none of your friends can text you at any given time. Like, like someone is literally controlling everything you're doing about yourself. And so you are no longer independent. And that
Mhm.
person is literally like like overwhelming you with control, pretty much.
Wow, y'all got some great jams.
Mm.
Now, I think I touched on this a little bit, right? I feel like for me, obviously, I know that I'm in a toxic relationship if, like, again, the environment I'm in is not conducive to growth, right? I'm not growing.
Yeah.
I'm not growing at all. I'm not helping you grow. I'm not growing. And this is one thing for me when it comes to toxicity. I feel like toxic traits. I feel like, first of all, I do feel like every single person has toxic traits,
For sure.
right? Not everyone is toxic, but I feel like everyone do have some toxic traits that, with time, they can become very toxic, right? So I feel like, start in there. But to just go back with, I feel like toxicity starts small, right? I think it
Mhm.
starts very small, and then it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and slowly it starts kind of taking over our life, start taking over your day to day. So you mentioned a couple of things, right? For me, when we talk, let's talk a little bit about isolation, right? Because for me, for example, Gracie Stacks is my friend. We've been kicking it we kick it all the time. We talk on the phone all the time. Now, obviously, when you get into a relationship, I do feel like there needs to be like moderation to what we were doing. I obviously, and we'll talk about this a little bit here. But I feel like when all of a sudden you're in a relationship
Mhm.
and you go ghost, and we can't get a hold of you. You're
Yeah.
not talking to any of your friends. You not, we're reaching out, you're not responding.
Mhm.
Because I do feel that behavior I've seen in a lot of my friends when they get into relationships.
Yeah,
And that is,
same.
for me, I feel like most of the time that is mistaken for, oh, I'm just trying to respect my new relationship. So I need you, Elton, to just a little bit get into that space where what's the difference between trying to respect your relationship and isolation? Because I think there's a fine line, right? To where you're trying to respect your partner, so you're not trying to do the most with your friends like you used to, right? But then also isolation is like, yo, you're not even hanging out with your people. You're not even talking to them on the phone. Like,
Like you're losing your identity
yeah.
type.
Like, what's that like? And how would you, in your opinion, how would you kind of talk through that?
I mean, that's really interesting because I've seen this happen to most of my friends and my really close friends, where as soon as they got into the relationship,
Mhm.
all the weekends or like all the holidays, it's all about that partner's family,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Like they have zero control.
I'm just trying to
on-
support my new boo, you know.
Yeah,
Like, do you know?
they
this is
have
like a
zero
family.
control on, like, hey, you know what? Maybe we could go out and do this. And actually, funny enough, 9 out of 10 times your friends or the person in that relationship don't really see that.
Yeah, they don't see it. No.
They don't see that. They almost feel like you are like looking way too deep. But 9 out of 10 times, us looking outside, like looking in,
We see the
we're like,
red
yo,
flags.
bruh, you flooded right now.
We
Like,
never
what's
see
going
Brody.
on?
Like Brody
Like,
never
what-
come around
yeah,
the way.
like
no
what's
more.
happening? And so, most of the times people try to take oxygen out of your person's life, and that's how you know you're in a toxic relationship, when they want to detach you from your circle,
Yeah.
your family, and it starts small. It starts, where like they start getting annoyed by you getting calls by your friends,
Like, oh, why
yeah,
do you always have
like-
to be on the phone with
right,
her?
right.
I'm
Why
like,
you? Yeah, like why you always on the
excuse me?
phone? Why are they always calling you, or you always talking to your friend?
Like, what about me?
Right. And so you compromise thinking you're doing the right thing, but
Because
then
love is blind.
right. So you out here compromising, and then next thing you know, you're not picking calls no more.
Because you start picking up his personality.
Yeah.
Like, now you're irritated by the
Yeah.
phone calls.
You're like, damn,
The shit bleeds into
they're calling
you.
me too much.
Like, oh
It
my gosh,
wasn't
he is annoying.
It wasn't a problem a few months ago where we could talk at least once, and now you're like, well, them calls have been too much. So it's a difference. We can create boundaries when it comes to a new relationship, and that's why we talked about like open communications, transparency, right? There isn't anything wrong if me as a partner tell you, hey, I do realize that you've been making a lot of calls. Maybe we can minimize on that, or at least be upfront about what's going on. And like communicate like how you feel about certain situations. Now, depending on the person's maturity, it could be that they may take that well or not. But like being upfront about what's going on and then setting some boundaries, I can understand that. But when the oxygen is completely taken out and you're completely cut off from like your family, your friends,
Everyone.
then there's a common denominator there. Like, what's actually going on? Is this person really trying to make sure that you're not connected with your identity? Because that's what ends up happening. They take over your identity, and now all you think about or all you're associated with is that other partner's part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So you did mention something, right?
Mhm.
In terms of identity. But let's talk about the boundaries piece, right? Because I feel like the boundary piece has to go both ways.
Yeah.
It does.
You have to
course,
put the
yeah.
boundaries with your partner, with your new partner, but you also got to put boundaries with your friends, right?
Of course.
Because
yeah.
Absolutely.
and
everyone.
I talked about this, man. Like,
Everyone needs
if you were
boundaries.
single and you're in a group chat or not, right? And Elton is always sending some crazy memes, right? Some nasty memes.
Mhm.
If I'm in a relationship, you can't be sending me some of those memes, like that's where the conversation has to happen on both ends of the spectrum, right? If I'm in a new relationship, and obviously like there's that piece where you set the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
You let your partner know, like, listen, Elton, Gracie, that's my people. I hang out with them all the time. Now maybe all the time can turn into sometimes now, because
Yeah.
now you're in a new relationship and you're trying to build that up.
Right.
But the communication has to go both ways, right?
Yeah.
Both ways from you, and also from your friends as well. Because again, toxicity, and we can all be honest. I know y'all got some couple friends that are toxic, right? Listen, I know for a fact when I was single, ain't nobody was sliding in my DMs. I know that for a fact.
Oh yeah.
Man, I was
babes
out
love
here. I was out here like,
occupied
yo.
men.
I was out here like, yo, where the shorties at? I'm hitting up on my homegirls like, yo, where your friends at? Right? You know what I'm saying? I'm looking
Nacha was searching.
I'm looking low-key thirsty, right?
Yeah, it was giving thirst.
And then
Parched.
all of a sudden I'm in a new relationship. My DMs are flooded. Gracie
Babes.
flooded.
Babes love occupied men.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, now I know y'all toxic. I know y'all see me in a new relationship. I know y'all see me posted up with Shorty, right? So now all of a sudden you slide in my
Now
DM.
you interested?
I promise y'all, yo, there's this one
Liking
girl.
up your posts.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
then sliding in your
there's this one
DMs.
girl. I'm like,
Sending, subliminal messages.
there's this
Yeah.
one girl, low keto. I obviously ain't gonna name her. Look, listen, the whole time I was single.
Yeah.
Chasing.
Her, you were chasing her.
Okay, chasing is not the word, but I was macking.
Don't.
I was
Hey,
macking,
don't backtrack.
you know?
Don't
backtrack.
downplay.
No.
it.
Chasing ain't the word.
No,
Listen, because we don't chase
isn't
around
it?
here. Listen, chasing ain't the word. What I'm gonna say is I was macking on her, right?
Thank you.
I'm in the listen. I'm dropping bars. Even I'm impressed with myself. Nothing was sticking though. Nothing was sticking. I'm
She
like,
wasn't
oh
fucking
god
with you.
damn. It's like, you know what I mean? Nothing was sticking.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm like, all right. So I moved on to the next because that's how we do it. For me, it's on to the next. That's low key toxic behavior. I ain't
On to
gonna
the
lie.
next, right?
On to
Like,
the
oh, I
next.
didn't score there.
And I'm like,
No, not at the same time. 'Cause
Yeah,
are
we
you
gotta-
supposed to be stuck down
right,
bad?
right. So I'm sitting there, new, you know what I'm saying, new shorty, looking good. Not, gotta admit, not as good as.
That's crazy.
I'm talking about like from a physical appearance. Now, personality,
I would
everything
die
good.
if my man told me
But
that
I'm
I didn't
saying
look
though, like,
as good as his
now
last
let's be honest.
date.
Let's make this
Yeah,
clear.
yeah,
This
that's
happened
wild.
years ago. This happened
That's
years
wild.
ago. So I'm looking, I'm like, all of a sudden I'm hanging out with shorty. Now the other shorty starting to reply to my DMs. I'm like, why now? Like, bro, like you
They
should
don't leave you on red.
The spider senses are.
So I'm sitting there like, listen, and ladies, I'm gonna talk to y'all. Stop doing that. Okay? If homie trying to mac on you,
She's not, but maybe her interest
respond and
picked
say
up.
I'm not interested
And then
and just keep it pushing. But don't ignore my DMs whole time. And then as soon as I'm in a relationship, you replying to my DMs. Don't do that. I might be happy as hell you responded. Though. I ain't gonna lie. Hey,
Hey,
I'm in
that's
there-
toxic.
that's
yo.
exactly how the cheating
That's
comes.
toxic.
Hey, listen, I'm in there joint like. So, but don't, stop doing that.
That's
but
hilarious.
let's go to the next question here because it kind of goes hand in hand with toxicity, right?
Okay.
Gracie, I'm gonna start with you though.
Yeah.
What is gaslighting?
Gaslighting. Okay, I can give you an example of gaslighting is, let's say we're out and, dinner party vibes, and I'm speaking to a certain man, and
Okay, hold on, real quick. Dinner party vibe. So you and your partner go to a dinner party.
yeah, me and my partner go to a dinner party.
Okay.
And it's like a mingling type of thing.
Got it.
We're individuals, so he's doing his thing. And I happen to be speaking to a man and we're kiki kind and it just is too friendly. Right? You see it, you peep it, you come to me, you do it respectfully, and you talk to me about it. You're like, oh, what was that about? That was a bit too much. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that didn't even happen that way.
Ooh.
He didn't even, I never touched that man. Like, we were 5 feet apart. Like, what are you talking about? That's gaslighting. It's like, I'm just trying to change what you saw.
So
Making your partner look crazy.
Yeah,
pretty
you feel me?
much.
Gaslighting is definitely like the best way to make
okay,
somebody
but
look
in
crazy.
that
Like,
situation though, you might be okay. In that situation though, you might be blinded though. You might not see it the same way he's seeing it. He's just letting you know from
no,
his
I'm very,
perspective.
let's say, okay, I'm very aware of what he's talking about. And then
Okay.
when you come and you talk to me about it, I obviously know what was going on.
Right.
Then I'm like, what are you talking about? You're always tripping.
Okay. So okay. All right. Okay.
Like, and then I start going to like, get further into it. Like, if you found me attractive, you don't think other people find me attractive? Then they start spiraling, gaslighting.
Okay, that makes sense. Elton, what's gaslighting?
I mean, I think to me, in the simplest like words would be to magnify small things, literally. Like, things that you could have handled very well, respectfully. You just want to magnify. You see in a small situation, and then you go up to your partner, like something happened at the house. I don't care, break a glass, something small. But you now want to bring up a whole bunch of other stuff, or
You done broke
right.
broke 20
Like you
glasses?
don't, you don't care about the house. You don't care about like
Oh,
like
God,
yo,
that's
like-
crazy talk. Now. Just because I broke a glass, I don't
right?
care
Like
about the
what?
house.
Like what is going? It's not about the glass. Like it's about something else. So it's literally just magnifying, small situations, and this comes from not communicating and not having like open conversations.
Okay, and I like both answers. I
What
think
is
they're
gaslighting
correct.
to you?
Gaslighting to me, I would say, is tit for tat. Right. So what I mean by that is, if I get checked, right, I'm doing something, you check me like, oh,
Uh-huh.
and then I start saying, hold up. I start bringing old stuff up that you did, and it wasn't a problem 2 weeks ago, but now I'm bringing it up, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like
Ooh, this is
gaslighting is tit for tat,
triggering.
and when we talk about tit for tat, for me,
Mm.
also the people that's like when they do something wrong, when I do something wrong.
Mhm.
For example, I'm gonna use your example. When I break the glass in the house, and Gracie comes and say, hey, like, I ain't gonna lie to you, kids, like, y'all be careful next time, whatever, respectfully too, right? And then I take it and say, oh, so I don't never do nothing right in this house.
Yeah,
You know, like-
oh, but when you broke the window last
Right,
year,
right.
like
People just always like, oh, so I don't never do nothing right. And it's like, bro, what? Where did that come from, right?
Like,
Yeah.
So that tit for tat for me is like
Definitely-
gaslighting.
that's
And I feel
definitely
like gaslighting is like, yo, if it wasn't a problem to you 3 weeks ago when you did it and I didn't, maybe I don't, and then now I did it and you check me, I can't come start bringing up old stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of deflecting. It's
Yeah.
like, current situation, current problem, and someone wants to bring something else that maybe can distract from what's actually
Yeah.
going on.
Trying to
It's
distract
not
me
my
with-
issue right now.
from you.
Yeah.
The problem is you right now. Why are you
Absolutely.
bringing me up?
And I want to talk about, I want to circle back to that tit for tat, right? So let's, for example, you do something, right?
Mhm.
And then your partner brings, like, don't say nothing to you, right? Everything is good. And then they bring that up 2 weeks later, right?
Mhm.
Because I really, and obviously I want to make sure like people process things differently,
Yeah, I was about to say that.
right? People will always process things differently,
Right.
right? But to me, which I think you've touched on it a couple times, communication is key. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. If you don't say
Comprehension.
if you don't say nothing to me, if you do not say something to me when it happens, do not bring that shit up 2 weeks from now.
Nah, that's not fair though.
All I'm saying is, okay, come to me and say, hey, Keys, I don't appreciate what you did there. I'm not in a mental capacity. I'm not in a mental state right now
To process
to
it.
process things, or it takes me a little bit to process.
Yeah.
But I just want to let you know that what you did bothered me.
But I don't
But I don't want to talk about it right now.
We'll
but
come back to-
we'll come back to
it.
that. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm just saying you generally ignoring something, and 2 weeks later you coming and bringing it up. Like, don't do that.
Some people are just passive aggressive a bit.
Hold on. And on top of that, you're now bringing it up after you've done something wrong.
Yeah, because that is gaslighting. It's like
Mhm.
if I bring it up, after
Right.
I did something, then
Now you've done something wrong. Now you want to bring up an issue that you didn't resolve, and now we're stuck with, well, we were talking about you. Now you made it about me having an issue that happened 2 weeks ago. So what I was telling you, Keys, was that being able to have open communications when everything is going right. Talk about how you how do you process like situations where you getting upset,
Mhm.
you're angry. Like, what do? How do you process that? Like Gracie say, sometimes it could take you 2 weeks. Now that could be, and this is where compromise comes into play, right? Like, why are you taking 2 weeks? Are we able to have open communication and transparency? Are you doing that out of spite? Are you doing that to just like
Part-
Talk about it.
like F you for forget you or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
'cause
I'm
from
gonna
a
keep
pre-
you waiting, right?
right from a person who's passive aggressive,
Mhm.
well, a former passive aggressive babe.
Former.
I God is working on me. For a person who's slightly passive aggressive, I can say like sometimes is half of like I need time to process this, and the other half is like I'm being spiteful. Like you made me feel this way, well, F you.
Right.
So I'm finna drag this out so you can have a war within yourself of what's going on.
And that's where we go wrong.
That's toxic, right? Like,
Yeah,
I-
that's pretty
yeah,
toxic,
a little
right?
toxic trait. I said God
That's
is working on
definitely
me.
a little bit toxic.
Listen, and I'm gonna say this, right? Like in
Mhm.
my past, though, my partners haven't always been able to deal with emotions in real time,
Mhm.
right? So that for me has given me a lot of patience to be able to navigate through that, because I also feel like now for me specifically, if we are having a conversation and if something bothers you, I want to address it then so we can move past that, right? I'm the type of dude that, listen, if we got an issue, let's put it on the table, let's talk about it. Now, we've just talked about it, so people need time to process things, right? I need not
Reasonable.
necessarily 2 weeks,
They
reasonable
don't need
time.
They don't
Reasonable
need
time.
time. They need reasonable time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because needing time, that's when we reach into those aspects of like toxic behavior where you just extend and it just because you want to spite that person.
Yep.
but I
And not because you need
Fuck you.
you need that specific
exactly, but I
time.
also feel like
Mm.
the individuals like me that I want to have this conversation now,
That's
Mhm.
also toxic.
low key could be toxic because
Not low key.
because
it is.
at the time, if she's not willing to deal with the
Are you
situation,
going to force
and I'm
me?
forcing her to talk about it, she might say something that she don't even mean because
You're rushing me.
she's frustrated, right? And then now I'm mad, and then now the issue becomes now we're arguing about feelings because now it becomes super toxic. So I also do feel like forcing somebody to talk about something that they don't want to talk about it then, that's also toxic because again, they may need time to process. Now
Yeah.
where the question comes in place is how much time do you goddamn need?
I guess it's when you have the conversation.
But the thing is also we got to talk about it, right? When it comes to that toxic trait for me, I feel like you got to have that conversation and say, listen, I'm going through X, Y, and Z. I'm not ready to talk about it now. I'll talk to you about it later. You gotta let me know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you this, man. If you give me silent treatment from the jump, or if I wake up in the morning, because Lord, this is bringing some old
Not you,
memories. Let me
trigger.
tell you, listen, listen.
Uh-oh.
It's trigger.
The question is, I'm bringing you right. Like you wake up in the morning, shorty, mad. I didn't even say good morning to you. I know we went to bed. Fine. Right?
You probably was asleep. She probably was like,
Shorty mad in the morning. I asked you, hey, Gracious Stag, what's good with you? You good? Yeah, I'm good.
I'm straight.
I promise you, I ain't asking you again. You good? Yeah, I'm good.
Why?
I'm keeping it
But
pushing.
I'm just a baby girl. Like you're supposed to. I want small baby girl treatment.
Listen,
That's why I want
and I'll be
bit.
honest with you. I think most of the time,
Just
it's
know
that
the
lack-
person you're dealing with.
Most of the time is the lack of that communication, right? Because for me, if you tell me you good, I promise you I ain't finna foster. I'm not gonna come to you and ask you good. I'm not asking you 20 times if you good. I'm gonna ask you if you good.
I just
You
want
say
3
yes, you're
times,
good.
not
I'm gonna be
20.
like cool, and I'm gonna keep pushing. So for me, I feel
Then I'm
like,
crying. And you're like, what the fuck? is
and if
wrong
you
with
crying in the, if you crying in the crib, I just be walking around like I already asked her she was good like that. I'm
That's
doing my
mean.
thing
That's
like I'm
so
on my
mean.
PlayStation.
There's
like
no way you're this mean to women you're dating.
okay. So and so for me, the one thing about that is we have those pre-communications before, right? Where I've communicated that. I've communicated that over to you. I've told you that, listen, you don't gotta talk to me about what's bothering you, but just let me know something's bothering you, right? Don't tell me you're okay, and then deep down you know you're not okay. You're dealing with some stuff, and you're like, how am I supposed to help you if you know what I mean? Also, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, like, again, boundaries. When everything is going good, talk about how you react when
We're
you're
That's
typically
hard.
trying to talk when things
Right?
are bad.
That's
yeah.
hard.
So, and that's for me. In any of the relationships I've had, that has always worked. Is when everything is good and dandy. I done took you out. We fine dined. Like we're talking about, hey, this is how I act when I get upset. I'm understanding you as a human being.
Yeah.
And also we also talking about the non-negotiables. Like, what are some of the things that you shouldn't do when you get upset? And are you willing to respect that? And am I also willing to respect your non-negotiables? Right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes we get upset and then we start hitting below the belt. I don't do that because I respect the partners and the friendships that I have. And so the biggest thing is that have those before the argument. And then everything works with the time frame. Ain't no way you're just not gonna have a time frame. Like for me, we try not to go, like when you're in relationship or in friendships, don't try to go to bed upset about stuff. Like, are we able to do you have until end of day, right?
End of
day
EOD.
to be able to resolve what's going on. And if it can't be resolved, can we at least have a brief overview? That way we know that
Not
if
the overview.
Really?
Is this a business meeting?
Like,
What
listen,
the hell?
can we have are we able to communicate and understand, hey, you know what, I'm still in my feelings, but I've cooled out enough that I can be able to sit down and have a conversation with you. And when I do that, can we have human to human conversation? Like, this isn't we're not trying to outdo each other, one up each other. I'm not here pulling out stuff that I know about you just to make you
That's so
upset.
healthy of you.
And so
Mhm.
you literally have to do that. But this comes with both parties doing that.
Yeah.
One party cannot do that. Both parties have to do that, and you have to be able to create these things when you're in a healthy space. And that comes from actually having it when you're in a positive light.
That's
You
true.
can build these boundaries or talk about this stuff when it's already heated and you're already like on go.
When it's hot, when you on go,
When it's hot, it's too late.
Shout out to Elsie for being the voice of reason.
Hey,
Serious.
shout
I'm
out,
serious.
Hey,
I'm
shout
serious,
out to
yeah.
you for being the voice of reason.
Because it's Chirac with me.
I'll be honest with you, like I can be petty sometimes.
I'm very petty.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's not that I can be.
and
I
like
am.
for me, I feel like if you do me dirty, that whole thing, hey Grace, you got to be the mature one. Nah, you know what I mean? I try to keep
I'm
that.
5'2".
Hey, listen,
It's above me.
Hey, that's crazy. I'm 5'2" is above me as wild. But like, I understand what you're saying though.
If you're here below the belt, then you're giving your partner
What's below the belt to you though?
do non-negotiables. Let's say, for instance, for a fact your lady hates when you bring up a certain feature of her, right?
Like, girl, why you ask?
Right. And now you're really upset. and you mentioning that is going to absolutely trigger her to explode, right? Do you mention, or do you respect the partner enough to know that, you know what, right now I'm in the mode of trying to figure out how we can resolve this without using information that they told you willingly
I need to go to boot
to
camp
not
about
go
this.
below the belt.
The mature answer is yes. I would be willing to respect that. The DJ Keys answer is nah. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, if we fighting about a situation, and for me, like, this is the thing with me, and maybe I'm better for this, right? I would not go below the belt first. But if you go below the belt,
You're coming back.
I'm going below the knees, right? So, and it's my thing, right? Like, if you
Below
tell me,
Below
like,
the
let's say,
knees as well.
let's say, for example, you tell me, like, you don't like how your ears look, like your ears are small. Like, I got fairly small ears, right?
Barely is
Like,
crazy.
my ears are fairly small, so
They're all small, not fairly.
yeah, I would say
small.
that like that could be a feature to somebody that maybe they don't
Let's
like.
get a zoom on those ears.
Yeah, chill out. Maybe they don't like that feature about themselves, right? So for
Yeah.
example, let's say I don't like that feature about myself. So let's say you're Keys and you got small ears, right? And you've told me like I don't like how my ears look, like they're little. I'm just insecure about my ears.
Mhm.
If we're fighting or arguing, I may or may not bring that up. Like maybe if your ears were bigger, maybe you would be able to hear my point a little bit better. So like, yeah, I'm toxic. I'm a little toxic. I ain't gonna lie to you. But like in that case, though, I know what you're saying. So going back to the question that I asked first. How do y'all feel about waiting to talk after a disagreement or after an argument? I'm gonna go to you, Gracie Stacks, first. Like to you.
I want to wait and talk.
You want to wait?
I want to wait and talk just so I could get the anger out my system, because sometimes like my words are so crazy, and it's like if I'm very angry, I do have control, but I don't want to control like what comes out my mouth. It just feels good to say really messed up things.
I've been wanting to say that for a minute.
You feel me?
You feel me? Like, yeah. You got that
like
release button.
even if it's with a guy that I really like, I kind of forget that I like them, and like just so
Go
it's
crazy.
like I need.
She forgets she like her. She start going there.
yeah,
Like, this
just
how I
like-
really feel about you. Though.
My personality just switches. Like it's like I don't even know you anymore. So I prefer to wait to get the anger out my system. Maybe not a week, that's a drag, but even just a day. Like just give me a day to be like
Do you usually wait though?
what to.
After our argument, do you usually?
I-
Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be with like a significant other. It could be just even with your brother, your mom. You know what I mean? Like that situation itself. Like when you're arguing with somebody, would you rather like wait? Do you actually wait, or
I'd
for
rather
you-
wait, but sometimes I speak before I wait.
so your mind is a little faster?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's way faster. Sometimes I'm like, guy, why did I just have to say that? Like, it catches me by surprise.
Okay. I would say. What about you?
See, I'm the same way I think you mentioned before. I want to resolve it like right now so we can move beyond it. But I have over time I've come to learn to have the patience to wait. And I mean, and this comes in handy because sometimes something could come up while you're like at a dinner party. What are you gonna do? Like resolve it right there and then? No, you're not. You're gonna have to pocket that.
We go to the bathroom.
Right? So you're gonna have to compartmentalize that and talk about it when you get home. And
Play it cool.
Sometimes that can be tough.
That could be very
That's a muscle.
tough, 'cause,
That's a
like, I
muscle.
don't
You
like
really have
you
to
right
exercise
now.
that. And it's like, hey, I know we're upset at each other, but we're gonna have to be cool.
We got
Until-
okay. So are y'all
yeah.
the type of people that when
we
you
can be
mad,
we can be upset and be cool at each other. and,
when
like,
you're mad,
Mhm.
or when you get angry, right? Are you able to like mask that and be okay? Like,
Yeah.
and people wouldn't notice you're even mad?
Yeah.
What about you, Gracie?
No.
So I feel
My
like
face is very much like
So
I
you
will-
wear
I
your-
will
you
have
wear
a
your emotions on your face?
disgusted look like towards
Mm.
you on my face. It's best I leave. It's best you lie to them and like, oh, she's an ER doctor. She had to go in.
Shit, listen, for me though, like
because my
I-
face would just be like,
Mm.
yeah, because at that point you just
What
go-
about you?
Just go wait in the car. at
you
that
feel
point.
me? I'm disgusted.
For me,
at
like
that.
I want to discuss the issue. I want to be able to resolve the issue. Now, like you as well, I've learned over time to not force the issue. So if there's a significant issue, or if there's an issue that needs to be resolved, personally, my personality, I want to be able to resolve it now so that we can move past the situation. But I've learned to wait. I've learned to wait. I'm not waiting a week though. Like for me, I'm not waiting on 7 days.
Like
I'm
24
not
hours.
waiting on, like, I will give you your space, but best believe you better be working on yourself to be able to come around this topic to talk about, because also I don't like dragging this stuff. I don't
See,
want to
that's
drag
that's another thing that's key, because it's like you said, you better be working on yourself.
it. Yeah, 'cause
Because
you
whenever I
don't park it like that and just be like, oh, we'll come back to it. Like,
literally, whenever I drag it out, it's not because I'm mad the entire time. It's
Right.
because, okay, it happened, sure, put it in a garage somewhere and continue my week, whatever. And then when you address it again, I'm like, oh, I am still, I think I'm mad about that.
yeah, see, that's the thing. You got to be
Yeah.
actively working on yourself, right?
Yeah,
So
it
that's
just
the
be
thing.
like,
Like,
And then
pick that
reasonable,
emotion
yeah,
back
you know,
up.
like reasonable timelines, and those you communicate when you're in a good space, where you're able to say, you know what, and then you have to respect that, you know, and both partners have to respect that. So if I'm the person that doesn't like to wait, you know, I want to be able to agree with you on a reasonable time that you will be also comfortable with. So if you tell me, hey, you know what, for years I've been making people wait a week, but because of how we are talking and communicating, give me 48 hours.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like to wait, I'll wait for 48 hours. If 48 hours means that you're going to respectfully come in and we address the situation, I'm okay with that. But then we will have to define what are we going to do within those 48-hour space. You know, are we respectfully going to, like, you know, cohabitate while we're doing this? Or is it something that, like, you're going to completely ignore that I'm there? And so we have to kind of, so there layers into trying to identify what those boundaries are. It isn't just like boundaries. It's also trying to define when you're in that state, when you're really upset, really angry, what are you going to do? Are you going to respect me enough to even, like, sometimes, you know, are you going to wake up, if you make coffee in the morning every day, are you going to say that you're not going to wake up and make coffee because you're upset? You know, so are you going to respect me enough to be able to, hey, you know what? I know we're doing this.
You want me to
but
make you
I'm gonna-
coffee though?
I'm
If
just
I'm
saying.
mad at you?
No, if that's something that you do, are you going to continue to do it? So these
No.
are things, and that's the thing.
What
And
you
So
mean?
that kind of like
you
reminds
talk
me
about that
of,
though, like those are something that you have to talk about.
like
What
my
you mean? Hold
mom's-
on, first of all, what you mean? If I'm mad,
Yeah, you can
I'm
still
not
make
making-
somebody coffee.
nah, negative. I'm not making you coffee.
See, that's the thing. It's a difference between liking someone and loving them. So
Right.
if you still love them, you still make that coffee.
I love all my people, but if I'm mad, I ain't
But
making
just because you
coffee.
don't like them, you
Right.
don't just be like F you.
You-
But I also understand the side of I be confused. Like, let's say, like, I've seen mamas like
Mixed emotions.
get into it.
It's not.
Yeah, it is. Get into it with their husband and still have to serve them dinner.
Well, I mean, that one you got to do that.
No, you don't have to do anything, but that's kind of what we but that's kind of what we're talking about, though,
Yeah, that's
right?
what I'm saying. So, like,
when
I
you love,
understand
when
both
you
sides.
truly,
I need my dinner though. I ain't
bro,
gonna
when
lie.
you truly love somebody or you truly care about that person, you have that much respect that, you know what, they're still my human. They're still my partner. Yes, we're in a disagreement right now, and yes, you know, we're working through some stuff. But ultimately, like, we are, you know, I'm still gonna treat you like the, you know, like the person that, the special person that you are to me. And so, yeah, absolutely, yes, it hurts. You probably not gonna like doing it, but if you are able to communicate that and be transparent about that, then over time you'll be able to do that with having no issues. Because ultimately, that's, you know, like that will be your person, like, in
That's
front of you.
true.
Yeah.
So love plays a part.
Okay. all
We
right.
and you are talking like we just kind of been dealing with niggas
Listen,
we don't really like.
honestly, for me though, like, you know, in that situation, not to drag it out,
Mhm.
you know, just making sure, like, again, I think communication is key, right? I feel like, you know, having those conversations before
Definitely
the fire
before.
definitely helps, right? And also navigating through that every day, you're able to know, okay, if my partner is mad, like, you know, I'm not gonna do certain things that's gonna, like, exacerbate the situation, just expand the situation even more. So in that case, I can definitely understand there. So let me get messy with y'all a little bit.
No mess.
Which in your opinion, right? What's the most toxic sign? I'm gonna start with you, Gracie. Stack.
Most toxic sign?
Yeah.
From experience, I'd say a Libra. And I would just like to say my mom is a Libra. So
Damn,
not
mama.
her.
Hey, mama, if you
No,
watching
I
this,
don't-
she saying you toxic.
No. That's what I'm saying. She's like excluded from this. 'Cause
Can't be excluded.
She's very excluded, but I've dealt with some toxic ass Libras. Like, Libras really need Jesus and
Listen,
all three
I'm not
of
even gonna
them.
get deep into some of these answers, but okay, Libras. if any Libra is watching this, just
Y'all are really bad people.
Just slide in her DM. You feel me? She gonna be taking y'all open arms.
No.
Elton,
I
what's
mean,
the toxic side?
I'm
What
gonna have an unpopular opinion. I don't think toxicity is it goes hand in hand with like signs.
your opinion though? Like you've dealt with a couple people. Like what
Yeah,
would you say?
that's the thing though. Like generalizing that, like and that's something that I had a conversation before with other people. It's like when we do that, like psychologically, we set our minds up into thinking this person is that way. Like if you absolutely
okay.
feel
Yeah, because
like
people be
a s-
like, yeah, I'm a
right.
killer. It's because I'm a Gemini.
right, like absolutely, like if
No,
you
you're just a killer.
because
you
I've seen
psychopath.
people do that. Like you meet a Scorpio and you've had terrible experiences with Scorpios.
Scorpions
Now,
in the building. We here.
your initial thought of that person is
I
that
actually really like Scorpio.
they're
Like,
horrible,
you know,
right?
with-
People
And so like for you, like you could meet a Libra that's absolutely amazing. Like you said, you give an exception with your mom, right?
'cause
Like
she's such
great.
a good person, but like I just
Right.
don't understand how she's a Libra.
Check that out.
Because
So
the rest of the other
she,
ones,
I can guarantee you, she's not the only Libra that's like that, right?
but also she's my mom, so I could be biased. She could
That's also
be
very true.
have a little,
Mm.
personality
so-
traits that I don't love.
That's true too. And so for me, yeah, I don't like generalizing in that sense because I truly believe that toxic people are toxic people. They don't,
Okay.
And most of them
they're all
happen to be
signs.
Libras.
Makes sense. I mean, I would agree with that. But Leos are toxic. man. Leos are the
back it up,
most
back it up, back it up,
toxic
back it up, back
human
it up,
beings
back it
ever.
up.
Listen, a Leo,
Back it
and I need y'all to
up.
comment in the comment section below. Listen, Leos are toxic. I know a
How?
lot of dudes
I feel
agree
like y'all
with me.
say I'm a Leo, just saying, and I just feel like y'all say this, and every time I ask for example, not one has been.
There is
thrown
no
out.
specific example because
Everyone
the
says
whole
that. I just feel like it's like just a popular opinion to have.
no, the whole document is toxicity. So it's no, I can't point one thing out. It's
You
just
give me one
Hey,
trait.
Just proves my point. You can't even
Proves
name.
this point, but I'm just saying
specific.
Leos are toxic.
how
Leos are toxic, very
how
toxic.
IG.
The question was like, tell me what the toxic sign. They didn't say explain.
But see,
that's coming next. That's coming next. But Leos
See,
are meant.
that's you're
Leos are.
gaslighting us because you just
Ah.
asked us a question and you said, but I didn't say that way.
Listen, I need y'all to comment in the comment section below. Let me know.
It's
who
definitely
y'all
not
think.
Leos.
Who
And if
y'all
it is
think?
Leos, it has to be them July Leos.
Nah, Leos are
Not the
Leos.
August ones.
Y'all crazy.
Them emotional July Leos.
But before we wrap up here shortly, but the other question I want to ask is why do people stay in toxic relationships? And go this will get a little bit deeper here, but why do people stay in toxic relationships?
I mean, for me, I would think, they've just grown accustomed to the person,
Yes.
or they try to. It depends. I mean, it just depends on what that relationship is giving them, right? So, if they're completely dependent on that person, and they may, in their current state, not have ideas of how they'll be able to survive without that person,
Mhm.
then their only option within that would be like to remain with that person. And so most, and not all of them, but most toxic relationships, all of those people are isolated, most of them.
Yeah.
And so they don't feel like they're able to reach out to their families, even though they could, or their friends, even though they could. They just feel like they've been literally like the only person that they can only talk to is that person that's being toxic to them.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's kind of what I would say. That would be the reason why they choose to remain.
Okay.
All kids as well. I mean, I've heard that a lot where
People
I
say
don't want.
'cause they're
Yeah, I
kids.
want to. I just want my kids to have both parents, or I just want this. Just want that.
Okay. That makes sense. Gracie Stacks, in your opinion, why do you think people stay in toxic relationships?
I believe I agree with Elton, but I also I believe people stay in toxic relationships because one, Stockholm syndrome. You just kind of fall in love with the abuser in a way, like Google Stockholm syndrome, the definition. And also, I think you know how it takes like how many days to form a habit?
21.
21 days. You stay with somebody longer than that, it just becomes like the norm for you. Like your brain is just like, oh, this just happens. Because I've met girls like who their boyfriends beat on them. And you're just like, why leave? And I mean, why not leave? And they'll start saying like, oh, but it's because I did this. Da, da, da. So your brain starts processing
Justifying.
things different. Like, oh, it's because I did this. So that happened. So in your brain, that's normal. Like getting beat on is normal. So now your only problem that you're seeing is like, I need to stop this behavior so I don't get this. reaction. So yeah, people leave because they become normal and their brain starts like processing things very differently. And they just don't have another way out. Maybe they don't have support. But even when they do have support, sometimes they just kind of just stay in this cycle. They get caught up in the cycle of, and sometimes niggas are really dangerous.
Yeah. So I mean, let's talk about like the, if you grew up in a toxic environment, maybe that's all you know, so you're used to
Yep,
that, right?
exactly.
I think financial stability could be
Mm.
one reason why people stay in a toxic
Big one.
relationship,
Yep.
right? You essentially you feel like I'm not gonna be able to get any, like, I got a house, I got a roof over my head, I got a car, right? I'm
Yeah.
getting taken care of. Even though I'm in a toxic relationship, this is all I know, right?
Yeah.
And where else can I get this, right? And people start second guessing themselves. People start asking themselves second questions like, okay, what am I gonna do without this person, right?
Yeah. Like your identity get
So
lost.
I
in
also feel
them.
like, again, the past has a lot to do with that, right? If you're accustomed to certain people, and maybe that's all you grew up seeing, and I feel like part of just making sure as a child, right? If you grew up seeing your mom getting beat on, if you're a guy and you grew up seeing your dad beating on your mom, sometimes that could be psychological too, right? You feel like you probably feel like that's how relationships should
Like
be.
that's the
Like,
only way to get power.
that's the only way to get power
Yeah.
over certain situations. So also feel like that comes with that, which it's sad, right? And I
Yeah,
think
it's a sad
people need to
cycle.
learn how to recognize that you're in a toxic relationship. I think the biggest thing is, this podcast is really all about building and maintaining relationships, right? So the biggest thing is, one, identifying and making sure that you know what the red flags are, right?
Yeah.
I feel like most of the time people ignore red flags,
Oh, yeah.
right? Or may not necessarily ignore them, right? You see the red flags, but you are, and I'm gonna ask this question here really quickly. Is there a problem with seeing a red flag and wanting to change that flag to be a green flag?
Of course, there's a problem.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can't change people unless they want to change for themselves.
I'm
not
very
for
hopeful
you.
that Gracious Stacks will change and become X, Y, and Z. Because I feel like
But
most people.
that's only a dream in your head.
Mhm.
That's only a dream in your head. And if I don't want that for myself, then it will never be that. So yes.
Because I feel like most time I'll see a red flag and ignore it and say, you know what? That flag is going to change. That flag is going to be a green flag.
I mean, I've had those too.
Right?
It only got redder.
And sometimes maybe it got green, but most of the time that should get redder. That should get brighter than the mud. Like, it's like, yo, that's,
now the whole room is red.
yeah,
Yeah.
now everything is starting red. Like,
Yeah.
but okay. So final thoughts here before we close.
Mhm.
How do you safely leave and stay away from a toxic relationship, right? And again, what are some of the ways that y'all think, again, based on your opinion, that individuals should be doing out there to safely? Because again, the key word is safely, because you mentioned, especially in this day and age, right? There's really environment where it's a really toxic situation, and there's just no safe way. But so, in your opinion, how would you say, somebody should safely leave a toxic relationship? I want to start with you, Gracie, and then end with you, Elton.
Safely leave. I feel like some things you could do is like find your local help, like around the community, resources in your local community. If you can, play it cool until you save up some money and escape. Like really escape, forget everything. Sometimes most women say, I'm doing this for the kids, but you're also traumatizing your kids by staying in that crazy relationship. So just take the kids and go. Maybe one day when everything cools down, the person can see their kids again or whatever the case may be. But and also like finally being fed up with the abuse, because sometimes people won't get out of something until they're like they themselves are tired of it. So become tired of it and escape. Find your local resources, lean on your family. Even if you've chased them away, still you can still reach out. I'm sure people won't be like, oh, F this person, they've been in a toxic relationship. No, they probably kind of just left you alone for a bit because you were unreachable, but you can still reach out to them and find your saving grace.
Elton.
I mean, you kind of touch on all of them, honestly. And I'll underscore that as well. A lot of states, depending on where you are, they offer a lot of resources when it comes to providing support, seeking professional help.
Yeah.
So definitely do that. If you're doing your regular checkups, communicate, share what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, let that nurse know, hey, this is what's happening. They can provide you additional help.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you're meeting your family, your friends, you know, coworkers, like, don't be the last person with the word,
Yeah.
because it might just be you, and you know that might just be your last word.
Yeah.
And so, don't be afraid to speak up. You know, like, yeah, definitely speak up. And while you speak up, then you will definitely get a lot of the you know, resources provided to you.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. And I just want to again make sure that if you're in a toxic relationship, because sometimes it's hard to identify you're in something when
Yeah.
you're in it, right? I
Yes,
think you
very
mentioned this
true.
earlier, right?
Absolutely,
It's
yeah.
hard to identify you're in something when you're actually in it. So two questions I always find myself asking myself, and I feel like most of my viewers, most of our viewers should practice this, right? Two specific questions that you should be asking yourself. One, are you in a good relationship with bad moments? Or are you in a bad relationship with good moments?
Hey.
And if you find yourself struggling with that question and finding yourself answering that question that you are in a bad relationship with good moments, that is a problem.
Run.
Run. Until next time,
Absolutely.
please make sure y'all stay tuned. Make sure y'all go subscribe to YouTube, right? We still
Yes.
we're going to do a huge giveaway. Make sure y'all
Absolutely.
go follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok.
TikTok, mhm.
And until next time, y'all,
Yes.
Let's go.
peace out, y'all. Let's go.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
Woo!